with a group of friends. The stream was mostly about driving around the city, having fun, and hanging out with friends. At one point, viewers suggested that they wait until dark and go explore a local abandoned building. The entire thing continued to be broadcast live. Once inside, Anar and his friends began exploring the building and eventually made their way to the top floor. That's when they noticed someone sitting deep inside the dark attic. Anar decided to take a closer look. That's when what had started as a bit of fun began turning into a real nightmare.
Ебать! Кто это сидит? Нет, я вообще долбоёб, или мне показалось?
Ты чё?
Я клянусь, там кто-то сидит. Но я не понял, кто. Это Лёха? Стой, 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 без приколов. Без приколов. Я не вижу лицо, просто мне темно. Я бы понял, если бы маска какая-то была, я бы понял. Маска там была?
Блядь.
Кто там? С маской?
Это пукла, походу, я хз.
А, все, это Лёха-то.
Нет, не так.
Манекен.
In a dark corner, he could make out a motionless human figure. At first, the group assumed it was just a mannequin. After looking more closely, Anar agreed, although he couldn't shake the feeling that it looked far too realistic. In the darkness, he still couldn't make out the mannequin's face. Wanting to be absolutely sure, Anar tried several times to get closer, but each time he stopped himself at the last second.
Какой нахуй манекен? В смысле манекен? Где? Какой манекен? Вы чё, ёбнутый? Манекен? Я клянусь, лица не вижу через камеру. Что это, блядь? Эй! Эй! Лёха, ты? Как это манекен? У него ноги бабушки. Лёха,
Yo,
это ты?
did we make it?
А чё я могу кинуть? Нет, это Лёха.
We literally found a
Ебланская
game.
конченая
The minute I
бутылка,
opened
Балтика,
up.
девятка, твой рот я
That'd be-
ебал.
We found a game the minute I need to queue up. Why is it not showing my
Я
anything?
просто не вижу лица.
It's all black.
Лёх,
There we
если
go.
ты не манекен. Просто подними руку, если ты не манекен, я уйду, клянусь. Если ты поднимешь руку.
P
Не, это манекен.
W.
Как нахуй у него одели рубашку. Двинься.
I can do TikTok live.
А нет, это человек, я отсюда вижу. Блять, что у него на голове? Я не вижу голову. Кто это? Лех, ты? Умоляю, не пугай, клянусь, это ты, мне страшно.
Then, without warning, the supposed mannequin moved slightly. That's when the group realized that a real person had been sitting there the entire time. Terrified, they ran out of the abandoned building. But one question remained. What was this person doing in complete darkness in the attic of an abandoned building? And why had they been sitting perfectly still the entire time? Later, reports emerged suggesting that the whole thing may have been a planned prank. Allegedly, one of the viewers had deliberately lured Anar and his friends to that specific abandoned building just to scare them. And if that really was the plan, it clearly worked. A woman named Mia had to call the police to search the attic of her home. She lives alone with her cats and had recently started hearing strange noises at night more and more often. One night, at around 2:30 a.m., the noise woke her up again. Mia searched the house but found no one. Before long, she realized the sounds were coming from the attic. and it was clear that something was moving around up there.
Okay. It's fucking 2:30 in the morning, and I'm hearing like things happening downstairs. My cats are in the room with me. I put my door closed. So now I have to go find out.
Okay.
Fucking signals.
Hello? Hello?
Bruh.
Hello?
Okay.
Fearing that someone had broken into her home, she locked herself in a room and called the police.
Dude.
I don't see any drug paraphernalia, food, diapers, clothes, nothing to indicate any squad or anything. I think okay. I think probably just know already.
Okay, but I heard footsteps. When did you do?
Well, sometimes raccoons like make a lot of noise.
Good work.
Very, if you want, I'm kind of tired of them to bring it out and do it for you.
Nice. Good stuff.
My advice, get some of those ring cameras, set them up around the perimeter.
Nice. Why is my mic not working?
Any sort of commotion. You can see. Maybe that's my advice.
Yeah.
You are the homeowner.
Yo, mic. Whatever.
So you know my family. Someone check the roof for another reason. My partner's already down around the house completely. So you do more help. You did the right thing by calling. They're safe and sorry.
When the officers arrived, they searched both the house and the attic, but found no one and no signs that anyone had been there. They suggested that the noises might have been caused by an animal that had somehow gotten into the attic. Mia, however, was convinced that what she had heard were human footsteps moving quickly across the attic from one end of the house to the other. Despite this, the police were unable to find any evidence of an intruder. A few days later, the strange activity continued. One night, Mia saw one of the doors in her house suddenly close on its own. To this day, Mia remains convinced that someone may be hiding somewhere in her home. As the strange noises continued, she contacted the police several more times and asked them to thoroughly search the house again. But each time, they found no trace of an intruder. According to her latest updates, the strange banging in the attic, which sounds disturbingly like human footsteps, still hasn't stopped and continues to this day. A woman named Katie Santry, who lives in Columbus, Ohio, woke up one morning and noticed that some things in her home office looked as if someone had moved them.
My house is haunted and I'm freaking out. Like I'm literally shaking. This is my sunroom. This is where I work. I sit here every day. There's a playroom here, doors here. This is the space.
Okay.
I worked in here last night until about 6:30. Everything is fine. Shut my laptop. We close these doors. The dogs don't come in here at night. No one is in this room. Come down this morning to work. Scream, shut up. This stuff down here. This hanging off. But the
W-Res.
is that this that only goes on this shelf, it only goes on this shelf ever, up here. Why? I never put it there. I don't put it here. My phone sits there when I work. Okay. Why was that there? Here's the next bit of important information. So we're building a fence. And back here, we dug a hole. There is a rolled up carpet buried underground. that we came across as we were digging this hole. Rolled up carpet. Who the fuck and why the fuck is there a rolled up carpet underground?
Katie shared what happened online and also mentioned another strange discovery. Not long before that, work had begun on a new fence in her backyard. While digging a hole, they discovered a rolled up carpet buried about 1.5 feet underground.
How deep is that? Like at least 2 feet?
Almost, yeah.
Dude, I'm straight diving on these guys.
Viewers immediately began speculating that something might be hidden inside or underneath it. After receiving thousands of comments urging her to investigate, Katie eventually decided to call the police.
Oh, yeah, I see the absolutely at the end of it. She's not even.
Say it's not cool to 6 feet long.
Oh yeah, no, there's just something like weird.
At first, she didn't think the buried carpet was anything particularly serious, but things quickly took a different turn when detectives arrived at her home with cadaver dogs trained to detect human remains.
Nice.
Both dogs alerted to the area where the carpet had been found. What had started as a strange story about unexplained activity in Katie's home suddenly turned into a real investigation. Her videos began racking up millions of views, and soon, the mysterious buried carpet was making headlines far beyond TikTok, with news outlets around the world covering the story.
A series of videos garnering millions of views. Katie Santry shared she may have discovered a body buried in a rug in her yard.
The entire thing blew up on TikTok this week.
The investigation stemming from social media. Police in Columbus saw a woman's TikTok showing she and her husband found this rug buried in her yard. She reached out to police. Well, police showed up with cadaver dogs.
Even after the first dog sat, I really didn't think the second dog was going to do it too. I thought maybe it was just an accident. And when the second dog did it too, I freaked out.
I think it is absolutely crazy for something to happen like in our area like this.
Things became even more serious when homicide and missing persons investigators, along with forensic specialists, arrived at Katie's property and began digging up the area.
This is insane. This is crazy. Okay.
It might not mean anything yet.
Okay.
So homicide is here and missing person.
Dude, why is my game so quiet?
CSI is bringing shovels out. Okay, they're digging. They've been digging. And there's 6 of them. Some of them are in the hole. My window. I could see my window for like a freaking watch.
In the end, no human remains were found. There really was a carpet buried underground, along with some rubber material, but police found nothing suggesting that a crime had taken place. The hole
I need some height, dude. I need some high ground.
question remained unanswered.
Watch, when I get the
Why
height,
had
it's
both
cooked.
cadaver dogs
It's over
lived
for this
in
guy.
the same area?
It's over for the guy trying to res him.
What had happened to Katie's
Now I
damaged
just go spawn
laptop,
camp them.
which was what started the whole story in the first place. Katie was relieved that the worst
No, how did you see
suspicions had been
me?
confirmed. Still, not everyone was convinced by the
Oh my
outcome.
god, he's
Police took
won.
the carpet away for further examination, while the fact that both dogs had
No
alerted to
way.
it led some viewers to speculate that human remains might have been there at some point in the past. Even after police said they had found
Okay, I'm
nothing
locked.
suspicious, the discussion didn't stop. People online continued speculating about where the carpet had come from and coming up with different theories about what might really have happened in Katie's backyard. After his grandmother passed away, a man from Germany who goes by the name Hewelizda inherited her old house. On his very first night there, he noticed something strange happening with an antique wall clock. At first, he tried not to think much of it, but in the middle of the night, the clock seemed to take on a life of its own.
Holy.
Wenn hier irgendein Geist oder so drin ist und du mich hören kannst, dann mach diese Tür auf.
Yo.
Ich hab Gänsehaut. Gänsehaut, Bruder. Gänsehaut am ganzen Körper. Gänsehaut. Gänsehaut am ganzen Körper. Ich schwöre, Bruder, guck. Guck. Oh mein Gott. Oh mein Gott. Oh mein Gott. Mein Herz ist am Rasen, Bruder. Mein Herz ist am Rasen.
Its door began opening and closing by itself, and at one point, even the pendulum somehow shifted out of place.
Dude, I don't know why they're pressed. He dead left.
Years, but he had no idea where it originally came from, or who might have owned it before her. After what happened that night, he began to suspect that the clock itself might be behind the strange activity. In the end, his first night in the house was disturbing enough that Hewelizda decided not to dig into the clock's history. Instead, he chose the most drastic way to get rid of it. He burned it. A girl named Malia and her friend Jasmine decided to use the Randonautica app. It generated a random location far outside the city, and the two decided to go check it out. The closer they got to the location, the more unsettling the route became. It took them to the outskirts of town, and eventually led them to what was practically a dead end. Despite this, they decided to keep going.
Wait, let's just check the door. What the? Oh my god, no, turn around. There's a fucking suitcase. Jasmine, no. Jasmine, no, turn around! What?
Okay, hold on, chat. Sorry. I'm in queue right now, but I'm trying to get my TikTok going. I'm watching this dude's TikTok live.
With like plastic and twigs.
And I'm trying to see what his title is. Fuck this guy!
When they reached the location,
Fuck this
they
guy,
spotted
dude.
a
I could
suitcase
dead do what
on the
he's
side of the
doing,
road.
but like with
As
better
they
quality.
took a closer look, they noticed
And I'm trying to
something
do it right
inside
now.
wrapped in plastic, with
Okay,
an
here
unknown
we go.
liquid leaking from it. There had already been
did
a
TikTok
similar
Live just
case
crash on
involving
me?
Randonautica, in which a group of teenagers accidentally
we go.
discovered a suitcase containing human remains.
Getting my TikTok Live going
Remembering
right now.
that story,
I'll
the
see
girls
this?
decided not to take any chances.
My TikTok
They
Live right
immediately
here.
drove
You'll see
away
that
and
up there?
called the police.
Should I check my chat? I went to my
Police.
chat.
There was liquid coming out of it, and we didn't know if that was like something we should report or not. Any reason that because last time we did use the app, we got chased by this man and he kind of stalked us home.
Yeah,
So
he followed us.
There we
home,
go.
So
W setup, look at this. Wait a minute.
no.
no.
Wait a minute.
So obviously other people know what it is. So tell me about the suitcase. It was We've actually got a video of it. Yeah, we've
OBS virtual camera
Later,
not available.
while waiting for an update from the police, they went back through the footage they had recorded and noticed another disturbing detail.
Should I hit
In
a blinker?
nearby cornfield, they could make out a strange figure that appeared to
How many
be human.
cameras can you add?
Judging by the footage, the figure seemed to watch
Why
them
can't
for
I
a
use
while
this?
before disappearing into the corn.
Whatever.
Malia later said that the police never told them exactly what had been found inside the suitcase.
Is it 'cause I have a
but
projector
there was
open?
one more strange detail. According to the girls, the suitcase
No?
itself had the
Weird.
Randonautica logo on it, the very same app that had led them to that location in the first place. That made the entire situation even more mysterious. This
Okay.
is doorbell camera footage
I'm in
of a
queue right
terrifying
now.
incident in Fairfield, California. A man wearing a
I'm going
long
live
coat
on
approached
TikTok.
a family home
Here we go.
and began pounding aggressively on the front door, repeatedly demanding to know where the homeowner's daughter was.
Is that
At
chat?
the time,
Okay.
only the homeowner's wife and child were inside. The homeowner himself was away, but he
Live
could see
info.
everything happening through the doorbell camera app and tried to speak to the stranger remotely.
Hi there, can you open this door, please?
For what?
I just want to make sure that everything's okay.
Wait, what is the title? How do I find this fucking...
What do you mean?
This dickhead has gifts?
Figured I'd check on
He's
something.
doing gifts for blinkers? Yo, I'm about to log in.
Get out of my house.
Open this fucking door. Where's your daughter, man? Where's your daughter, man?
What are you talking about?
Where's your daughter? Who's in
Fuck!
there with you?
TikTok live.
Bro, if you don't
Open this
leave...
fucking door. Open this door, I'm breaking it fucking down. You understand me?
Leave my house.
What did you name the live? How do I see?
Are you okay? Is everything in this house okay?
Everyone's okay. What do you want?
What is the name of the live?
Can you leave my house, please?
Can you open the door, please?
You have nothing to do with my house. Can you leave my house?
You know what my name is?
I don't know who you are. You don't belong in this neighborhood. That's for sure.
This is my neighborhood, though.
Yeah, I live there. I don't know you.
My name is Harry Dresden, motherfucker. Open the door. This is my neighborhood. Open the fucking door.
Wish I had mods, man.
What?
No.
I need grown
I
people.
will fucking end
I
you.
need grown people, chat.
Do you understand me?
Oh my fucking god.
I never green out. I don't know what y'all expect me to do. I just need a mod, bro. I just need a mod, man. I need a mod. I need a mod,
Wait.
man. I need a mod.
Okay, I'm about to play...
Mod.
Soldier.
Okay.
The man responded by threatening the homeowner, and then introduced himself using the name of a fictional wizard. He then smashed the doorbell camera and tried to kick his way through the front door. According to police, the man eventually managed to get inside through a glass side door. Once inside, he moved from room to room, opening closets and searching for the homeowner's daughter. Meanwhile, the homeowner was already rushing back. When he arrived, he armed himself with a shovel and confronted the intruder. Both men suffered head injuries during the struggle, after which the intruder ran from the house and tried to escape. He didn't get far. Police found him near the property and took him into custody. The intruder was identified as 30-year-old Jason Nichols. He was charged with several offenses, including assault with a deadly weapon, burglary, making criminal threats, and vandalism. After the case received widespread attention, another parent contacted police and reported a disturbing encounter that had allegedly taken place between Nichols and their child just days before the break-in. This led to an additional charge against him. One night, a woman named Julie Youngerman, who rescues animals and shares videos about them online, went out to check on her horses when she noticed something strange in the darkness. Directly behind one of the horses was a large, dark figure. Julie knew there shouldn't have been anything back there, so she decided to move closer and find out what was hiding in the shadows. As she approached, she could make out a massive silhouette with eyes reflecting in the darkness, standing completely still and watching her. Despite how unsettling it looked, Julie kept moving closer.
Oh my goodness, so many horses. What the hell is that behind you? Oh my god, that's not a horse. What the fuck is that? Alright, what are those eyes behind you? What the fuck? What is that? What is that? Oh, fuck me. Okay, excuse me, there's some kind of thing. Okay, hi, sorry. Oh god, was it? Oh, hi, honey. Oh. Oh, it's just you. Okay. Jesus Christ.
In the end, the explanation was much simpler than it seemed. The mysterious figure turned out to be her pony, Betsy, who had gotten out of her enclosure on her own and had been standing there in the dark the entire time, staring straight at her. A man named Japrib was working a late-night shift as an EMT. Late that night, he was driving the ambulance back to the station when something happened that he simply couldn't explain.
Alright, so I'm not sure how to talk about this, but well, first off, I've been an EMT just for a little bit, and like I ain't never experienced nothing like this. So
Dog, they're low as shit. What are
so
you
as
talking
we
about?
driving back to base, I swear I seen a face in the rearview mirror. Like,
Somebody see if you can.
I need to turn this engine off though, cause like we're gonna be stranded out here.
Shit, thank you.
I'm not trying to go back again.
All right.
I don't know if you see, but can y'all see that back door? Like, it just, oh shit. Like it just flew open. Like, can y'all? Oh. Nah, what the? Can you see? Nah, hell no. Fuck that. Nah.
At one point, Japrib stopped the ambulance and was about to turn off the engine. As he reached inside, the rear door suddenly swung open on its own. Startled, he immediately jumped back from the ambulance, leaving his phone inside. After a while, Japrib eventually went back to retrieve his phone, but the strange activity didn't end there. Soon after, he and his partner noticed a strange shadow inside the ambulance, quickly moving back and forth. According to Japrib, the experience frightened him so much that he refused to get back into the ambulance. He contacted his employer and asked someone to come pick up the vehicle while he called a cab and went home. This strange video was sent to us by one of our viewers. According to him, the footage was recorded somewhere in Asia. At around 3 in the morning, he was driving home along a narrow road that ran through a palm plantation when his headlights caught sight of a man in an old military uniform. He was simply standing in the middle of the road, staring off into the darkness. The encounter was strange enough on its own. The man stood completely still, had no visible source of light, and didn't react at all as the car approached. But just a few seconds later, things became even stranger. After driving a little farther, the driver spotted two more figures who looked almost identical. They were wearing the same kind of old military uniforms and walking calmly side by side down the middle of the deserted road. Even as the car approached, neither man turned around, and they seemed completely unfazed by the headlights behind them. What made the scene even more unsettling was how closely their movements matched. The same pace, the same stride, even the same movements of their arms. According to the person who recorded the video, he had no intention of stopping to find out who these people were or what they were doing there in the middle of the night. So he kept driving and simply passed them. Who these people were and why they were out on a deserted road in the middle of the night, surrounded by complete darkness, with no flashlights or any other visible source of light, remains unknown. Of course, there may be a perfectly ordinary explanation for all of this. A woman named Gabrielle and her friend Ashley set out to explore the abandoned Northern State Mental Hospital near Cedro-Woolley, Washington. While walking around the grounds of the abandoned facility, the two suddenly heard piercing screams of a woman coming from somewhere in the distance.
Ashley.
The scream sounded so disturbing that Gabrielle decided to call 911, worried that someone might actually be in danger. Later, she posted the footage online, where one viewer suggested a possible explanation. There is still an active psychiatric treatment center not far from the abandoned hospital, meaning the screams could have come from there. However, after checking a map, Gabrielle noticed something strange. The active treatment center was about half a mile away from where she and Ashley had been standing, and between the two locations were trees, a wooded area, a creek, and several commercial buildings. This made them question whether a person's screams could really travel that far through all those obstacles and still sound so loud and clear. Where the disturbing screams actually came from remains unknown.
September 28, 2023, officers from the Albuquerque Police Department in New Mexico investigated reports of shots fired in the area.
You by chance hear gunshots? You're asking the wrong person, you know why? Why? I hear gunshots all the time. Yeah, we hear them too. So that's why I say you're asking the wrong person. Alright, well you be safe, okay?
Police Department.
Albuquerque Police.
Alright, the guy in the red, come this way too.
Hey, you in the red.
Come this way. Follow your buddies.
Do me a favor, guys. Just put what you guys got down. I just want to see empty hands, okay? We're dispatched to a call shotter. Or shots fired. Can't talk. Alright, well the address came out right here, okay? So we just have to make sure.
Yeah, read this.
You in the red shirt. Step over here. Just put what you have in your hands down.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Didn't you guys hear shots fired?
Yeah.
Where at?
It was an artillery shot.
Well, you were just saying you heard them over there.
No, we could hear the shots right here.
So you guys all heard them from over here?
Yeah, we've been doing it like almost every hour at least.
Okay.
Here every night.
You guys are here every night?
Yeah.
Here every night. We're not here every night. We're across the street.
What are you guys doing in the field?
We're just going through. We're going to see
the store.
we're seeing who's over there.
Yeah. Put that down for me. I appreciate it, boss.
We're just being nosy to see what they were doing, what they had over here, because they just dropped that car off.
We're just gonna check, make sure there's no casings or anything over here.
Fine.
Because the shot spotter says it's right here, and it's pretty accurate. So.
Yeah.
Albuquerque Police. Wake up, man. You all right? Yeah, I'm fine.
Who's that over there?
We have no idea.
No, no, no.
Didn't even know there was anybody. Need you to stand up for me. The reason we're here, we got dispatched. There's shots fired going off right here. You didn't hear nothing? Go ahead and stand up and walk over there to my partner, okay? I made a joke about, hey, where's the rest of my cup? Because there's a cup of money.
Okay. W Genji band, come on. Fuck, yes!
Yeah, for real. That's weird.
What the? Dude, they're just letting me lurk this red side and get fully away with it. I'm like locked in right now. He's so cooked. These guys are cooked. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa. W. Okay, he left the game. Holy shit. We're just in their spawn at this point. Oh my god. It's only one of them left. They all left. They all left. What? They all just left. Should I get ice cream for that? I might get some ice cream for that. Okay, let me watch some YouTube.
Right over there. Over there to your right. Hey, you in the gray. I'm right here. Come on. I'm behind your back now. Stay here. Good? Don't move. Knuckles together.
I don't know if I hit 5'6", but we have 5 detained right now.
Now walk this way. Watch it down. There you go.
People coming the wrong way.
That's like my daughter and her boyfriend.
Yeah. Your daughter and your boyfriend?
Yeah.
They probably see you.
Just hang out over there, okay? Yeah, well, we'll let you know in a minute.
They said they heard gunshots. Down right here on the curb.
You guys are detained because we're investigating to make sure none of you guys were in one shooting.
What are you doing with that broke down car back there?
Where's the rest of my car?
What you guys do then? You using your family here? Yeah. You guys are good to go?
We're going this way, so
yeah. Just go around the car.
You hear any gunshots? Why did you try taking off, dude?
But it says he has 29s on there.
What do you have warrants for? Do you know what your original charge was? Shoplifting? Misdemeanor or felony? I don't think I can let that go, okay? Probably have to go to jail for it.
Let me go. Get him. You good, Alfred? Yes, that's fine. Black Durango heading eastbound on Chico. Come on. Right there, totally. What's your name? There's a black Dodge Durango going eastbound towards Wyoming. You good? He's directed at me. No, stay there. Visual on that area. Negative. We were never seen it spit off really fast. It's fucking crazy. That's cool.
Have a seat. You're being detained and outfitted. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Get on the car! Get on the curb! Get on the curb. Hey, hands up. Got weapons on you? Hold on.
Go.
Driver is compliant this time. He's a WLA wearing an orange shirt.
That's why I kind of pulled that out. It's like, yo, just been one of us. I think you would have checked me out.
Your right hand, grab your shirt at the top of your neck. Right there. Pull it up, all the way up. I need to see your waistband, front and back. Take it off. Turn around. Stop. Walk back towards the sound of my voice. Stop. Take 2 steps to your right. Stop. Yeah, I got it. Walk back as you walk up. There's nobody in the vehicle. You guys are
Face it up. Is there anyone else inside? No, no. Is there any weapons inside? Is there a work knife? Any guns? No. Separate your feet. Separate your feet more. I'm not in the car.
What? How is he not dead?
No one else inside, is what he says. Sit down. What am I supposed to be looking in your pocket for? Alright, man, hold the hot side. Clear here. There's someone in the car. Hey, what is this? Okay, sit down that way.
The officers appear to bring up that a Dodge Durango involved in a homicide might be the same one that they just pulled over. Based off court records, the individuals involved in this incident are not connected to that homicide.
You said you're working on a driver's license, right? When you say you're working on it, why haven't you gotten one?
Oh, I gotta stop trolling.
Actually, you know what? Actually, no, stop. Stop talking. I'm gonna stop asking questions, dude.
And then Alfred has this guy in his car. Jane, you want me to sleep the casings for now and head over? We don't know yet. We were running him. That's what I was telling Alfred too.
I'm gonna let you check your words and confirm them. If they're not following you, I'm gonna let you go.
You have 3 phones confirmed. You see that my brand money was
He was in cuffs, so it's kind of.
It appears officers to jail over his felony shoplifting and bail jumping warrants. It was not his lucky day after all.
Go back to homeboy.
Yeah, it's like we were passing inside too, so. I just wonder if that's what the vehicle that was like to serve crazy. I didn't think they were the same. Yeah, if they were searching for shoot. I mean, it's crazy regardless, but I just assumed saw someone.
It has the same bar light that the Durango has.
No, it was for sure Durango.
He said it's the one they have is a Citadel. It looks just like a.
Yeah, it's the dog. Yep.
Cool, yeah, you dropped off one pass. I think that you looked into that smoke shop real quick and saw me. Somebody had eyes on it, and they jumped out on fast. That's yours again.
I know.
So that can't help.
Casings over there.
These guys is there. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to pass her the signature.
Might have been driver or just that fast. That fast. And I thought it was right next to the ground.
He says, I'm on the street. See what that's for? Not knowing you're out? Oh, wait. What's up?
We're talk to you yet? Alright, hey, before I talk to you, I want to ask you a question. You guys alright with me? Your car? Your car? One shot. Okay.
Yeah. It's not an accident. It looked like the sweepers casings up on the street. And that's the light. That's fine. In our opinion, it's not connected. To tell me exactly where you're going to drive. But they're boiled. Casings are not right. Do you consider it multiple?
I want to tell you my shit overall.
That's what I want you to tell me.
I just want to tell you overall. I love you.
Today, I'm not sure
uncertainty from the officers appears to vanish as the suspect admits to sticking his gun out the window while drinking and driving after buying it off the street. The driver was promptly arrested and charged with 1 felony count of shooting from a motor vehicle without causing great bodily harm, 1 felony count of aggravated assault upon a peace officer, 1 petty misdemeanor count of negligent use of a deadly weapon, and 1 petty misdemeanor count of driving while under the influence. After his arrest, the suspect was issued a no-bond hold, meaning he would be held in jail until a verdict is reached regarding his court case. He faces 4 to 8 years in prison if convicted on all 4 counts. 6 months later, in April of 2024, he entered a plea deal, submitting a no-contest plea for both of his felony charges. A month later, he was sentenced. The New Mexico court website indicates he was released on recognizance and is under strict pre-trial supervision, implying he was sentenced with some form of probation or parole, the duration of which is not publicly available.
Snowstorm, I like that. Just about more than anything else. A good blizzard is my favorite thing to forecast and track and all that good stuff. My least favorite, to be honest with you, is hurricanes. I don't get it. I don't, like, I'm not as interested in tropical weather as all the other stuff. Like, I get severe weather. Shoot, like, I find flooding. It's incredible. Even setups like tonight. I'm gonna be up all night watching the radar. But like I could sleep through a category 3 rainfall. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know. Like
put me to bed.
Big time hurricanes like that make landfall. Like those are crazy. And I find them fascinating and engaged. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let's figure out what's going on here. But most tropical stuff, not really.
Fuck your tree, bro. Fuck your tree.
Jesse, thanks for the 5 gifts. Andy was amazing during last year's hurricane landfall. Yes, that hurricane, and Hurricane Helene, both of our big ones from last year, were exceptionally interesting. There's definitely nothing, Milton had the crazy tornado outbreak, and then Helene obviously had the crazy inland events. So those were not going to when you had a whiz over 200, how long do you ride for? Usually we'll be live for longer than 10 hours if we can stay over 200. We've had it over 500 before. This like 49, I can't emphasize enough how low that is. Like things are on a national scale. Overall, very quiet. And I know that like whenever I say that, people get upset. Like, well, it's actually really Well, the weather intensity score doesn't measure your house. You know, it's a cumulative score for the whole United States. Yeah, I think we hit 600 or something during the March 14th outbreak. Yeah, the big tornado outbreak with the EF4 in Diaz, Arkansas. That was a crazy day. And we hit 600. We got up in the 500s, I think it was the next day, during the high risk in Mississippi and Alabama, March 15th. But it wasn't as high as March 14th. So yeah, if it's over 100, things are active. If it's over 200, things are really active. Usually we'll have like a couple of reserved tornado warnings, maybe even a PDS tornado warning or something if the score gets over 200. If it gets over 300, that's when we're having some sort of outbreak usually, something quite normal. When is the website coming out? Very soon.
Yay!
It's
We
all
did it.
ready. I just need to make sure, like, if like 1,000 people go to it, it's not gonna crash. That's the last thing I've got to do is just make sure it's ready for traffic. What is Weather Intensity Score? It's just it's a score that measures the intensity or displays with a number the intensity of the weather in the United States right now. It updates every 30 seconds now. It used to only update every minute. Now it updates every 30 seconds. And it just takes in all the available information, all the warnings, all of the reports, all the mesoscale discussions, all of the chasers, and it just takes in all this data, runs it through an algorithm, and produces a number. The higher the number, the more intense the weather is right now across the United States. Just like a thermometer, there's no cap. There's no, highest possible number. It's just the higher the number, the hotter. Or the higher the weather intensity score. Got 45 to 65 miles per hour of wind shear. That's winds changing with height as you go up, and that's going to allow the storms to get organized. And it's sitting over air that cools off really fast the higher you go up. So.
So what I do have is video. Now the video is we'll never see me shooting anybody. I'm not a killer. I just want to act cool.
Officers are currently questioning Joshua Curtis in the hopes of finding his friend, 17-year-old Adrian Brown, because only hours ago, these cameras captured Adrian shooting an innocent man for fun, showing off his crimes and escaping.
2 local teens are facing murder charges tonight. They allegedly killed a homeless man camping near one of their homes.
As cops now canvass the city to search for him, they will get to the bottom of what happened on this night, one way
So this person here is dead. The other people are just on the trigger.
or another, as these two turn on each other.
I have a friend that put the blood on me, and I didn't do it. I'm sorry. He's telling other people that he did, because it made me sound cool.
A party was underway in Albuquerque, New Mexico on April 30th, 2025. 17-year-old Adrian Brown had met up with his friend, young Joshua Curtis, at his apartment complex. The pair were no stranger to crime and had been placed on probation. Adrian for bringing a gun to school, and Joshua for battery on a peace officer. So to make themselves feel better, the two decided to drink their problems away. Around that time, the two teens decided that underage drinking alone could only entertain them for so long, so they found other ways to keep themselves amused. That involved acquiring a pair of pistols. Despite it being late at night, That did not stop either Adrian or Joshua from discharging their weapons. Sometime later in the early morning of the next day, they decided to stop and return to their respective homes. When they both woke up and stepped outside, they were greeted by an alarming sight. The police were seen surrounding Adrian's apartment complex upon receiving reports that a homeless man, identified as 23-year-old Christopher Sturluson, had been shot to death. By that point, all eyes were on Adrian and Joshua. Law enforcement brought them both in for further questioning in early and late May, respectively. They were in need of a detailed explanation on what exactly took place. After all, the pair had been firing guns, and then just nearby, a homeless man was found dead. This couldn't have been a coincidence. What desperately needed answering was whether Christopher's death was a senseless act of violence, a terrible accident, or the result of an escalating conflict. Adrian had already been taken into custody for an unrelated case. After spending a significant amount of time building a rapport with him to keep him open to talking, they slowly leaned into the events leading up to the shooting. During the rapport building with Adrian, he mentions that he seems relatively unbothered by it. But will Joshua echo a similar story later on during his interview? For now, Adrian talks about picking up Joshua, who he calls Yogi, along with another friend. Though the detectives hope to build a timeline of events, Adrian's description of his night sounds particularly brief and uneventful.
That'd be my arm. It like came right to my mic, my mouth. Fuck this guy. I'm
Glossing over many details here. They do not call attention to this just yet, as they cannot risk scaring them into remaining silent or calling for legal support. Instead, they continue along with the conversation before turning their attention back to that night before the shooting.
bruh. No way we lost that.
Pressure from the detectives here has worked, prompting Adrian to change his story. What is interesting to note is that a firearm was found in his apartment, but he claims that it belonged to Joshua. This is something they will have to make a note of to cross-check, as this could be one of the murder weapons. Adrian then reveals a peculiar observation. But before that, if you love watching killers that can realize they can't lie their way out of a murder, subscribe. It's literally all we do. things are about to become a lot trickier for the police, as they are about to show Adrian CCTV footage. Should he ever decide to stop the interview, all of this progress made so far will be practically for nothing, making it much harder to obtain a confession. They will have to choose their responses carefully, as he is shown footage. To get a clearer picture of where the shots supposedly took place, Adrian draws a map for the detectives. During that time, while looking over his drawing, they decide to share their findings.
I lost fucking fuck, those kids are good.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode.
Stupid fucking FNs, stupid fucking FNs, bro. I can't say it. FNs, FNs, FNs. That's what they are, FNs. Fucking.
Hello YouTube. Today I am quitting YouTube forever. Just kidding. This video is going to be posted on April 1st. And if you fell into that, that's on you. This video is 5 p.m. You've had like all day to learn not to fall.
Please balloon on the enemy team.
I've been seeing a lot of debate. A lot of
Just, oh my god, just pick one, 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 just pick one.
Then Dewey versus Broh versus young Sheldon, all battling to the death in a 1v1 cage fight. So today, I will be figuring out once and for all who would win in a fight. Dewey, Brick, or young Sheldon. I will be dividing these into categories such as strength, IQ, talent, speed, durability, and finally, grades. While studying for this video, I have watched the entirety of Young Sheldon. I've watched like half of the first season of Big Bang Theory, but we're not going to be counting any of that. I have watched all the way to season 7, episode 13 of Malcolm in the Middle to prepare for this video. Now, you're probably going to be asking, okay, but what about Brick? Nobody likes Brick. Nobody likes the middle. I couldn't force myself to watch it, I'm sorry. So everything will be coming straight from Google. So if it's wrong, blame Google. The first category we're going to be judging is the physical strength of everybody. Starting off with Dewey. Dewey, he grew up in a household of how many brothers? He had Francis, Malcolm, Reese, and Jamie. He had 4 brothers. That's a lot of brothers. You can see him in the show get roughed around by a lot of the Tuna brothers because, well, he's the youngest other than Jamie, but he was introduced in the later seasons. I picked this clip specifically to judge Dewey's strength because you can see that he's pretty strong in this clip. I mean, he utilizes weapons. He uses a brick and a purse. So he's very crafty, he created his own weapon, and he slings it around, and he ends up winning against multiple attackers which are older, bigger, and stronger than him. So I would say that this means Dewey's pretty strong. Brick and Sheldon, you know, they're more fragile, they come from nicer homes. Young Sheldon, his brother, doesn't really physically pick on him a lot, and his sister is just mean verbally. And the middle, from what I've seen, they all seem to pretty much get along. For young Sheldon, I picked this scene. I picked this scene because, well, he's utilizing weapons a lot like Dewey. He created his own slingshot out of science goggles. That was what they call it. They just call it science goggles. And now, you watch this fight all the way through. He doesn't win the fight. He is obviously fighting someone who's bigger and older, just like Dewey, but the ATF is probably a lot more. You can see that after the attack, it did leave a mark on the person, which with Dewey, we didn't see any physical abrasions or marks on the people. That could just be because he hit them where they were wearing clothing, like in their stomachs and stuff. Now, for Brick, he doesn't really get into any fights that I know of. Like I said, he's a soccer guy. He didn't grow up in the team like Sheldon, but being a stronger than you, or creating your own weapon with like science goggles, but it's pretty much the only thing he has in the strength department. Moving on to IQ detected intelligence. Doom is obviously related to Malcolm. He's the second smartest in the family, and according to Google, he has an estimated IQ of 140 to 150, which is like almost as much as Malcolm's, but just a little bit less. He often moves to manipulate, but that's kind of his way of outcome. However, he is no match to the young genius, Mr. Young Sheldon. Mr. Young Sheldon is a genius. He has IQ 187. He graduated college at 14, which I'm not to brag or anything, but I started college at 14, so Sheldon, he disproved a NASA theory while he was like 8 years old, I think. So he's pretty darn smart. Brick doesn't really have a stated IQ anywhere on Twitter or in the show, I think. But you can see that he's a bookworm. He knows random stuff, and in this clip, he would open up a stand that people could ask him questions. He would just know it. So I would say that his IQ probably isn't as much as Sheldon. It's still pretty high, maybe Dewey or now. But let's see what is the least about him. Dewey is a music producer, and he even made his own piano. When he was cold open to this episode, you can see him messing around with glass. He takes out the pitches and fills the containers with water. That way he can play music. Now, it is not stated directly anywhere, but I would say that this is a pretty good indication that he has persevered for something similar. Earlier in the show, he actually wrote his own opera, music and all, to send for a student at Abraham Lincoln. Now, Mr. Sheldon, he's confirmed to have persevered, so I'm not going to tell him this story in the melody. And he even performed as Amy in the school musical, which, you know, it's not a good way to use the talent, so I'm going to say he's a little less familiar. Brick's biggest talent is probably the ability to do about things at work. You know, pretty much everybody does if you just pay attention in school, and young Sheldon, he does that right away. You know that Sheldon helped us with reading about grades at work, so it sounds kind of useless. I would like to point out that all three of them have a great recall ability. Like, Rick from the middle, he has to stand, like I mentioned earlier, where you can ask him something, he'll just know it off the top of his head. Dewey, whenever he's in the classroom with his friends, they ask him how sound works with motorcycles. He explains something from like years ago that his brother told him. He remembers the first thing he understands it. And the young Sheldon, he remembers that. This is going to take a lot of math. I'm going to start feeling these main characters here in a second. So just lock in with me, and we will try to figure this out. I found this clip on YouTube of young Sheldon running on a football field. Each line is a yard, and you can see that he runs 1 yard every 2 seconds, or half yard per second, which is equal to 1.0273 miles per hour. Brick is around 4 feet tall, according to Google, and the average sandboxes are 6 foot by 6 feet high. Based on Brick's size, we can say that the box in this clip is 6 by 6 feet. Using this as a reference, you know, it takes Brick 2 seconds to walk 6 by 6 feet across the sandbox. This is equivalent to 1.05. Of course, this is going to be approximate because I didn't walk exactly across the sandbox. Episode 7, Malcolm Limited. Here is where we do a lot of Season 1, Episode 7, Malcolm Limited. How the dad, he takes Bruce, Malcolm, and Dewey to the racetrack, to specifically Irwindale Speedway, which is now closed. The finish line is about 660 feet long here. There are 9 little boxes across the finish line, which means each box is 70 feet deep, top to bottom. This is of our view why just look at it. There's no way that that's true. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate these technology difficulties. Two times not listed on the so I'm going to have to find it. You can look at this one, which is also the one. So that's what is the height of each business user? So it's 5 foot 7. The height of the average door is 6 foot 8, which checks out Jones's height. Confirms it. I feel like there is more to do with this information, but I don't know. So I'm going to take the easier way and just do normal. If you look at the baseballs that are on the wall, you can see that there are like 5 or 10 in a row. The average baseball has a diameter of 2.94 inches. Using the snipping tool, we can judge that dude is around 15 baseballs. This means he's about 45 inches or 3 feet 9 inches. According to Google, the average 7-year-old height is 4 feet. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but Dewey isn't 4 feet. He's actually a couple inches shorter than that, so your math might be wrong. If you look at this episode, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find a clip of it because it was a pretty random episode and I saw it pretty recently. It is stated enough in the middle that Dewey is the shortest in his class, and this is all because, well, he has to share a bed. And that, I guess, shrunk him. I don't really know the science behind that. I don't think sharing a bed makes you shrink. So I think it's pretty safe to say Dewey is approximately 3 foot. Dewey looks to be close to 1 finish line square. Look at this clip. He is about 1 finish line square, top to bottom. This means that each square is about 45 inches, right? Run to the 2 squares in 2 seconds, which means his speed is 2.556818 miles per hour. Again, I keep saying miles per hour. This officially makes him the fastest, with Brick being second and Sheldon being last. Durability. In the episode of Malcolm in the Middle, when Dewey gets beat up by Randy, we can see him bloodied and bruised, and, he smiles. There's no signs of tears, no signs of sadness. He doesn't even say, like, ow. He says, quote, "It's so great to have this over." I think that's pretty tough. I mean, if I was talking about in the show, he's like 7 foot. He's gotta hurt a lot. In season 1 of Sheldon gets a strong hurt in his finger. His sister attempts to dig it out with a needle, but Sheldon pulls away last second because he's too much pain. Eventually, his sister uses tweezers, convinces, and looks like he's about to die. He's never seen a step down from Dewey, but I like splitters. In the pilot episode of The Mill, Rick smiles at some of the beer bottles. He responds by saying how he knows the drugs in the house. I would say this puts him kind of in the middle of Sheldon and Dewey. I mean, the beer bottle didn't cause that much pain. Then again, I feel like if Sheldon got hit with that, he would be like freaking out. So I'm gonna just put him in the middle. Get it? The middle. The last category is in season 2, episode 6 of Malcolm. Dewey and his brothers get a new babysitter. Reese and Malcolm are at a hospital. It's strictly for science. He does not meet his first girlfriend until season 3 of The Big Bang Theory, when he's 24 years old. I think it's safe to say that her has demolished this character. All of the research they have just done, we can say that strength goes to IQ goes to the child prodigy and Mr. Young Sheldon himself. I would say talent goes to Dewey as well, as he writes many songs, he's an amazing singer, builds his own piano, and has perfect pitch. Speed, very hard thing to calculate. However, if Dewey, Brick, and Sheldon got to a race, Dewey would definitely win. Brick would come closely second, and Sheldon would probably be dead. durability on these kids and show that dude can take heavy hits. First is slightly favored by small damage. Sheldon freaks out of the soul. Even the idea of how this category is second in for the babysitter episode, and Sheldon is last for obvious reasons. Thanks to all of this research I have just done, I think it is safe to say that Duke is the superior character, and in a free-for-all death match between Duke and Sheldon, Duke would win. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I'll be making more of these probably. Goodbye.
Why do they keep dissing on DJ T, my DJ goat? Holy.
In Osceola County, Florida,
Debut endorsement.
south of Orlando, sheriff's deputies responded
We're almost there. We're almost out of gold.
Deputies were requested to make contact with the suspect, Curtis Kimball,
What is he even
and
playing?
conduct a welfare check on a possible victim. Curtis had been
On my
recently
alt.
released from
Large,
prison
please.
after serving a 5-year
I
sentence
need a
for
bev,
trafficking
bro.
meth and possessing a firearm as a
That's what I
convicted
need.
felon. The latest felonies Curtis committed spanning a 22-year-long criminal history. When deputies arrived, they found Curtis's residence empty and put out a bolo alert. Thanks to license plate readers posted at every entrance point into the county, deputies in neighboring Indian River County were alerted to Curtis's car, but they had no idea that he had a second hostage with him.
Start launch process.
This is gonna be me one day. I'm gonna be up here. I feel like I can do it. What do y'all think?
Go ahead and try and light him up, see what he does. We can hold everything else. Light him up, speed up, test,
Okay. What? A new YouTube trial. Fucking Casey Simpson talking about the market crash? Are you dead ass? Shut up. Oh my god.
The stock market is more overpriced today than it was before the Great Depression and the 2008 financial crisis. And yet job losses, inflation, and poverty are way up. What's going on? How can the stock market reach a record high while the underlying economy is collapsing? Well, it's reaching record highs today. Every recession indicator we have demonstrates that this stock market is more primed to crash than at any other point in American history. If you're invested in the stock market, or if you're in any way affected by the US economy, which I think is everybody, you're gonna wanna hear this. First, let me demonstrate to you just how overvalued the stock market is compared to the economy. And then I'm going to explain why the economy hasn't completely collapsed yet. And if history is a guide, when all the economic indicators say it will. There are two metrics that determine how overvalued a stock market is. The first is the Shiller Index, which takes the 500 companies in the S&P 500 and divides them by how much money they make. So if my stock price is $100 and my 10-year average earnings, adjusted for inflation, is $20, then my Shiller P&E ratio would be 100 divided by 20. or 5. And the higher the ratio, the more inflated the stock price is. Because all it does is divide the stock's price by how much money they're actually earning. You know, the thing a company is supposed to do. In September 1929, the Shiller P&E ratio hit an all-time high of 32.6 before the Great Depression. The ratio hit 24 before the 2008 financial crisis. Today, the Shiller P&E is above 42. The only time it's ever been higher in history was when it reached 44 at the height of the dot-com bubble. But the second metric for how overvalued the stock market is the Buffett indicator, which takes the entire valuation of the stock market and divides it by GDP. It basically measures how high investors are valuing companies as opposed to the actual value of the goods and services those companies actually make. So if the Buffett indicator is higher than 100%, it basically means we're valuing the companies that produce products more than the products themselves. Have you ever heard money doesn't grow on trees? Well, for a moment, let's pretend that they do. Imagine a tree that can only ever grow $10,000. Obviously, you should never value that tree more than $10,000. In a similar way, we shouldn't value companies much more than the products they actually make. Or at least Warren Buffett doesn't think so if we don't want a recession. When the Buffett indicator exceeds 100%, it's basically like valuing a tree that can produce $10,000 at $12,000 or $13,000. And then eventually people will stop buying trees because they'll realize $13,000 isn't worth producing $10,000. The Buffett indicator's previous record high was 145% just before the dot-com crash. Today, it's at 241%, which basically means that we're valuing only the publicly traded US companies as 2.5 times as valuable as 1 year of total American economic output. So with the economy so shaky, why hasn't it completely collapsed yet? Well, my first question is, are you so sure that it hasn't? It's true that the US stock market is still up, but Canada and Germany have already entered a recession. South Korea's stock market is totally collapsing, and France is one negative quarter away from official recession territory. Have you ever wondered why immigration became such a politically explosive issue, specifically in the last 10 years? It's because Western economies have actually been stagnating or declining for decades. But we've been able to hide that decline by increasing immigration, because importing millions of new workers boost GDP numbers, which will boost, at least temporarily, how well a country looks on metrics like the Buffett indicator. So it's no coincidence that when Canada finally started reducing their immigration levels, they hit a recession. The underlying economy was weak for years. Immigration had just been masking it. And now that in 2025, the US reached net negative migration for the first time in a century, there are only 5 remaining pillars that are keeping the US from complete economic collapse. And those pillars are each getting shakier every day. The first pillar is easily the largest. It's AI companies. Literally, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet alone, 4 companies, have accounted for 75% of the gains of the S&P 500 in the last
I
few
messed
years.
up the jump.
80% of the profits, and a whopping 90% of capital expenditure. Capital expenditure being how much money companies are spending on growing. That's insane. 4 companies are responsible for 75% of US GDP growth. And this is why you see top economists like David Rosenberg claim that without just those 4 companies, the US would be in recession right now. And he's not alone. Thousands of analysts have made similar claims. Look at this chart that demonstrates the difference in non-residential investment with and without data centers. Basically, all the growth has come from AI companies. So if anything goes wrong with these 4 companies, or even like one of these 4 companies, we're cooked. We might be looking this gift horse in the mouth very soon. Because the tech sector has not just stopped hiring. They are laying people off in bigger numbers than any other sector. In fact, there's very little evidence that AI has led to any acceleration in productivity that would match their sky-high stock prices, as this chart demonstrates. Productivity has basically kept pace with previous quarters. You know the phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket? Well, not many people know, but the second part of that phrase is don't put your entire economy in 4 tech CEOs' meta classes. But I don't think we listen to that part. The second pillar artificially buoying the US economy is the bifurcation of consumer spending. While the bottom 90% of the US economy has tightened their wallets, eating out less, spending less, going on vacation less, which would theoretically hurt economic growth, the top 10% is spending more money than ever and making up for it. Why? Because the top 10% owns 93% of the US stock market, meaning they've seen their net worth soar in the last 5 years. So they're feeling comfortable. That helps them still make consumer purchases and keep company profits from sinking too low. 20 years ago, companies had to rely on the entire American consumer base. In fact, in the 90s, the top 10% were only responsible for a third of consumer spending. Today, it's half. So corporations increasingly only cater or care about the top 10%. So this means that the stock market doesn't even go down, but just starts to stagnate. The top 10%, who again own 93% of the stock market, will no longer feel so spendthrift. And since corporations already aren't getting money from the bottom 90%, corporations will no longer be making profits. Their stock prices will crash, and the entire US economy will burn. The third artificial economic pillar is maybe the most volatile. After prices soared 30% in the last few years, which is just an insane number, companies like Klarna and Afterpay gave consumers the option of buying now and paying later.
Simon! Go on! Guidance! There's a guidance!
It's Simon. So, credit card debt has soared to $1.3 trillion, and increasingly, Americans can't afford to buy anything. We're putting it on our tab to pay later, and that's masking a deep economic corrosion. But that tab is coming due any day now, and many Americans are just saying they'll refuse to pay it. Almost 1 in 4 borrowers say they'll never pay off their debt, and 40% are missing payments entirely. Say you're Steve, living outside Austin, Texas, and you make $65,000 a year. 5 years ago, you could afford your life pretty comfortably, but now prices have gone up 30%. So if you're making anywhere near your same salary, you'll need to take on debt. So you start using a credit card thinking that eventually prices will come down, but they never do. And this is the story of millions of Americans right now. And we're already feeling the effects. This is not a future problem. The US last year tied for its lowest year of economic growth outside a recession since 1979. The fourth artificial lifeboat keeping the US economy from sinking is about as artificial as it gets. And that's that investors no longer believe in risk anymore, because they very justifiably believe that anytime the stock market has a downturn, the government will bail it out through any means possible. And they're kind of right, because of a total historical accident. The two greatest economists of the 20th century were John Maynard Keynes and Milton Friedman, who basically argued the complete opposite economic philosophy. Keynes said you can escape a recession by having the government pump money into the economy. Milton Friedman said the opposite. You should have the government pull back and let the free market steer. Well, you'd think if our government was full of educated scholars and gentlemen, that they would evaluate those two philosophies and pick one, right? Right? No. Instead, they just decided to do both. For example, in the 2008 financial crisis, the Obama administration both signed a stimulus package and cut interest rates. And even though that borrowed on two opposing economic philosophies, it sent one unified message to Wall Street, that by hook or by crook, from the right or from the left, through stimulus or tax cuts, the U.S. government will not let 2008 happen. We will bail you out every time. And we did. The U.S. bailed out 700 banks in 2008. Biden and Trump collectively spent $4 trillion to bail out the U.S. economy during the 2020 recession. This has become so expected that on Wall Street there's a term called the Fed put, referring to the idea that the Fed limits how much the stock market can go down, just like buying a put on a stock limits how much a stock can go down for an individual buyer. But there's a reason this can't go on forever, and that reason is Pillar 5. The U.S. by far has more debt than any other country on Earth at $38 trillion. To put that in perspective, the entire European Union has less than half that amount of debt. The U.S. is able to borrow so much money to artificially keep the stock market and economy booming because the entire world uses dollars. So there's a high demand for U.S. dollars. Therefore, countries are more than willing to buy U.S. bonds and lend us money. But there's a dark side to dollars being the global reserve currency, and it's our irresponsibility. The U.S. has been allowed to borrow so much money to the point that we can never hope to actually pay it back. That the only way the U.S. can avoid declaring bankruptcy is through, guess what? Inflation. Think about it. Inflation
Easy game.
erodes the value of a dollar. So if you have $38 trillion in debt, but the US dollar experiences 10% inflation, then you just eliminated 10% of your debt. You just eliminated $3.8 trillion. This is why, and this is what no one tells you, but this is the real reason the US needs to keep inflation relatively high and never go below 2% a year. And something else I haven't even mentioned yet is that inflation makes the stock market look like it's growing when it's not. The stock market has made a lot of gains in the past 6 years, that's true, but they look even higher than they really are because of inflation. Look how much lower the stock market has gone up in the past 6 years if you adjust for inflation. And our only hope is inflation, because outside of inflation, the US government is making no effort to address the debt. And when I say no effort, I mean no effort. This is how much debt we'd be in if the US government were a person.
I would like to raise my debt limit.
Excuse me?
My debt limit, I'd like to raise it.
Because the last time I checked, Mr. Smith, you were in serious debt.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Figure we should raise that limit.
Yeah, it says here you're $140,270 in debt.
Right. So I figured we should raise that limit to about $170,000. I just bought a 60-inch flat screen. Have you ever been to Australia?
No.
Leaving tomorrow, mate. You should check it out. Great parasailing.
Do you have some new income that I don't know about?
No, I'm still making about 21 grand a year.
Okay. Are you still spending $38,000 a year?
That's what it says.
So you're adding $17,000 a year in debt.
Oh, is that what it comes out to? Debt limit going up. Ding.
Have you made any cuts in your expenses?
Oh, of course, yes. My wife and I cut $380 out of our annual budget. It's $380.
Okay, so you're making, you're adding. Okay, don't see how bad this is, do you?
I cut my budget by $380. Are you kidding?
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. We can't help you.
My wife is going to lose it. I mean, $380 was bad enough. I mean, this is going to end our marriage. We stopped talking to each other for a month. The baby was totally freaked out.
Wait, you have kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sign there.
All right. Our kid's a blessing. I mean, she's got plenty of time to deal with all this, right?
Absolutely.
Are we all set?
You're all set.
All right. Let's go, kiddo. We gotta meet Mommy at the car store.
Parásio!
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Hey!
That's exactly right. We just...
I'm there.
All right. Our kid's a blessing. I mean, she's got plenty of time to deal with all this, right?
Absolutely.
Are we all set?
You're all set.
All right. Let's go, kiddo. We gotta meet Mommy at the car store. Here we go. I think this is yours.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Hey!
That's exactly right. We just grow the debt to give to the next generation, which is Gen Z, and we make the poor pay for it through inflation. Since inflation makes prices rise, it helps boost company profits, which helps boost the stock market. So again, the wealthy are doing okay. Inflation hurts the poor disproportionately because they have the least amount of money to spend when the price of consumer goods goes up for everybody. But this economic party might end sooner than we think because countries are trying to replace the dollar as the US reserve currency. Do you know what the US's biggest export was for the first time in history at the end of last year? Gold. And why do you think that is? Because people are seeing gold as a more stable bet than the US dollar. The BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are all trying to replace the US dollar. And that's to say nothing of how the euro is already the reserve currency for 20% of the world. For the past few decades, use of the US dollar has been falling. And remember, it's the US being the global reserve currency that allows us to borrow so much money to stimulate the stock market in the first place. When that goes away and the check becomes due, well, we won't have the money to pay for it, meaning there'll be no more
We won't have the money to pay for it.
And not one of these 5 artificial pillars can support the US economy when actual productivity goes down. When our actual goods and services don't get purchased, as the Buffett indicator tells us is happening right now. And as more and more Americans feel like they can't afford anything because of inflation, and tariffs prevent countries from buying American goods, that threat is becoming more and more imminent. We are essentially relying on the beneficence of 4 U.S. companies to keep this country even semi-solvent. Even as we're paying $3 billion a day on our debt, not to pay down the debt, but to keep the debt as the exact amount that it currently is at. We're paying $3 billion on like minimum interest payments. And here's the scariest part about the whole situation. These 5 pillars that keep the U.S. economy afloat don't only delay an inevitable recession, but they make the recession much, much bigger. It's like imagine building a dam's wall twice as high so it can accumulate twice as much water. When that dam breaks, the crash is going to be twice as big. These 5 artificial economic booms are letting problems that would normally result in a crash accumulate so they can result in an even bigger one. So, if you have money in the stock market, does this mean you should get immediately out? Well, in 1986, the market was also extremely overpriced. I mean, not as overpriced as it is today, but still. And the stock market still went up another 100% before it crashed the next year. John Maynard Keynes warned us that the stock market can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Buying and holding has been the best investment strategy for the past century, meaning that even if you're right that the economy is going to crash because the fundamentals are broken, and let me tell you how broken some of these fundamentals are, we can never know the exact moment the bill comes due. But it's also important to stay cognizant of Warren Buffett's admonition. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. Right now, investors are greedy, so I'd be wary about buying into a company that's at an all-time high, even if you post regularly on r/Wall Street Bets, because signs are piling up one after the other about the instability of this economy. For example, the U.S. was supposed to gain 83,000 jobs in July. Well, we lost 23,000. Inflation is still at 3.4%, well above the 2% target, which means as high as prices are, they keep going up an additional 3.4%. The average rent in Manhattan just hit an all-time high of $6,600 a month. And literally today, 30-year bond yields reached their highest peak since 2007. Meaning people are bracing for high inflation. So when the economy is in as volatile as a place as it is now, you have to be very careful who you listen to. There are a lot of finance influencers who've been peddling a lot of really shady crypto exchanges or free cash scams to make money. In fact, Free Cash actually reached out to sponsor me a couple times, but enough of a cursory investigation told me this is not something that I think is a good use of your money. Like, I never want to advertise something to you that I don't like or would use. I think there are a lot of people out there who just want to look like they know how to invest.
Oh my god, the stock market is literally closed on the weekends. I swear to God, these new finance creators, man.
Not her saying she invested on the weekend. Oh, that's so bad. I swear, people buy like half a stock on Robinhood and act like this.
Today we're going to talk about the crossover and intersection between environmentalism, social justice, and education, in combination with raising awareness, leveraging your platform and influence, and investing in a sustainable future.
Someone said they went from $3 to $3.07 in 2 weeks. I'm up $8 in NVIDIA. Watch how you talk to me. $8 in NVIDIA. Maybe consider taking those $8 as profit now. Because when this AI bubble takes down the whole economy, no one should be celebrating.
Celebrate.
Just bet against the American economy.
Fuck yeah, we did. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Which means... Which means, if we're right, people lose homes, people lose jobs, people lose retirement savings, people lose pension. Here's a number, every 1% unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die. Did you know that?
Down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
Under pressure. Yahoo down 8.5%, Cisco 6.5%. It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
This comment says we're about to have another 2008, and a lot of people lost everything in 2008. If 2008 never happened, my grandparents could have kept their business, and I could have gone to college. Right. My dad lost his job in the crisis. He fell back into alcoholism and broke up our family. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happens in a recession. Which is why it's not just finance bros checking the stock market every day now.
It's stock market time.
Someone commented, hey, that's probably the reason you're in the Maldives.
She asked me, oh, Matt, what do you do for a living? I said, I have 500 companies working for me. Which in boy math means I own 0.5 of a single share of the S&P 500.
Someone said, that's $37, by the way. Way to go, bro. Way to go. But now, I want to address something that I hear a lot. Like, this Instagram reel went viral.
What's the smartest thing
Are
a
you dead
20-year-old
ass?
can do with $1,000? This is so simple. Put it into the stock index and forget about it for the rest of your life until you retire. The stock market, an index like the S&P 500, grows at anywhere from 10 to 12% per year, every year of your life. There are some years where it goes flat, but if you look at the last 100 plus years, it's delivered almost double-digit returns the majority of the time. So that is how you retire wealthy. You take the 1,000 and you add a little bit more every week, generally 50% of your salary, and you retire with over $1 million when you're 65.
Someone commented, hey, Kevin, Zoomers don't even have $50 in their bank accounts. But even if you do have like 1,000, a lot of people are frustrated because they don't want to have extra money when they're dying of brain cancer. They want to not worry about starving or being able to pay rent today. Which, by the way, if you do the math and you put $1,000 in an index fund when you're 20, by the time you're 65, it'll be $20,000, which is a lot of money, but a far cry from $1 million. And on that point, stress actually shortens your life. So you'll never be able to retire with Kevin O'Leary's $1 million if you die young because you were so stressed out, because you were so poor, because you put the only $1,000 you had into the stock markets.
Did you know that if you invest in a 401k when you're 23 years old and then put 10% of every single paycheck into your 401k, then by the time you're 72 and you retire and your brain doesn't work anymore and your body hurts and you can't walk and your whole day is just going to the doctor's office, you'll have like $5 million.
Like someone commented, I can't wait to be a millionaire at the same time I become bedridden. And when I'm that old, I can finally run for Congress. Because you could also get to 71 and die and have nothing. Someone said even the dollar store ain't $1 anymore. You know, I used to think the dollar store like could only sell things for $1. Like they'd be shut down if they ever went to like $1.50. But this economy has made that impossible. Someone said Gen Z really loves thrifting. Yeah, or maybe that's all we can afford. This lady posted when you hate working a 9 to 5, but then you remember the state of the economy, and with all the layoffs, you don't want to be next. Someone said, girl, I worked through lunch, took evening calls with APAC. With APAC? With Israel? I don't know why she's taking calls with Israel, and I still got laid off. I feel like Israel could have hooked you up with a job. It just reminds me of my favorite Instagram reel of all time.
Marry, F, kill, communism, socialism, capitalism.
Oh, I would marry capitalism,
Okay.
Israel.
Hold it under zero pressure. I looked up APAC without an I to see what I'm missing, and it says it's a geopolitical union of Asia and the Pacific Island nations. Wow, I mean, that must have been an important phone call then. So I guess the lesson is, if even the diplomat coordinating the relationships between the Asian and Pacific Island countries can get laid off in this economy, none of us is safe.
Teens can't get jobs because they have no open positions. Because adults are working these jobs. Because they can't get a job in their field of study with their degree. Or they have a job in their field of study with their degree, but it doesn't pay them enough to live, so they need a second job. That's simple. Everybody understands this, except for the news, apparently. It's not because they're lazy and don't want to wake up before noon for their job. Adults can't even get jobs right now, and we're surprised that teens aren't getting summer jobs? It's not rocket science.
Someone pointed out that's because no one's retiring. In fact, people are coming out of retirement to take entry-level jobs. All those feel-good stories they run about 80-year-olds working the counter at McDonald's are actually dystopian. Retail jobs also expect 24/7 availability now, which students can't do because they're in school. I'm 22. What adult with a degree wants to get a job at a grocery store?
Entry-level jobs in the United States of America are vanishing right now, and alarm bells are sounding over the state of the United States job market and the economy writ large. According to Forbes, in the past 4 years, entry-level jobs have tanked 73%, the number of them. Inexperienced candidates are now welcomed in just 1 out of every 50 job openings out there. That's down from 1 in 15 in 2022. There are also 27% fewer salaried openings out there. So for new college graduates, good luck. There are just no jobs willing to hire entry-level folks. And the jobs that are, so many people are applying due to the scarcity in the number of jobs out there that it's nearly impossible to break in and get an interview. I mean, I talk to people every day, young people every day, those who are graduating college, those who are even graduating master's program. And they struggle to find a job, let alone a good paying job, because they just don't exist anymore.
Someone said employers ask for a degree now for like $16 an hour positions. Boomers got it all and ruined everything for future generations. Immigrants are stealing our jobs, they say. What jobs? I have 3 degrees, 27 years in experience, and I was rejected by Barnes & Noble.
This is the absolute worst economy I have ever experienced in my adult life. And maybe I'm the only person who says this here. I have more friends out of work who've been out of work over the last 2 years than at any other time in my life. And it is across various professions. I'm talking about friends who are engineers. I'm talking about friends who work in environmental policy. I'm talking about all of my friends in Hollywood and journalism and everything else like that. Sometimes I hear these conversations and I laugh because I get the text message. They're like, yo, who are these people talking to? I was just on the phone with a friend of mine who was a producer who worked on a commercial for the Super Bowl 6 months ago. She's like, I have been out of work for 6 months. I've been working since I was 16 when I got hired at MTV and have never been out of work this long. That is the Americans right now who are furious. And that's before I get to my students, many of whom, as you said, they can get jobs, but they don't have move out of the house jobs. And that's what you want. Everybody can go get a job. Everybody can go work at Chipotle, even if you're a manager.
What?
But if I can't pay the 3 months that I need to get an apartment in Baltimore, let alone New York City or Atlanta or Los Angeles, I am furious. The degree to which Republicans and Democrats have failed to address any of these issues is why you have so many people angry right now.
Someone said when a family of 4 goes to Taco Bell and it's $75, there's a problem. And this lady said, my pockets are tighter making over $100,000 in this economy than they were when I was making $45,000 some years ago. Back then I could buy a house with a $45,000 salary. Why do I make the highest salary of my life, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck like I'm 21 again? Hey, why are 21-year-olds catching strays here? It's kind of true, though. All politics aside, Zoran Mamdani and Donald Trump were both elected because Americans were hurting, and voters ranked affordability as their #1 issue.
I think 9 more terrifying words are actually, I worked all day and can't feed my family.
Someone said I had to pick between cat food and gas for my car today.
It is the 3rd biggest month for job losses. But not just that, the June job market was revised down another 37,000 jobs. Economists are calling these numbers a, quote, big kick in the guts because we are actively losing jobs in a stagnant economy.
A full tank of gas is $150 here. $150? Are you serious? The only acceptable way gas costs $150 is if your gas is being loaded up by like Doja Cat and Hank Williams Jr. doing a dual rendition of Your Cheatin' Heart while Matthew Santoro reads you 50 new fun facts. That was a niche one at the end there.
Here are 50 amazing facts. Oh, the economy isn't that bad. The cost of... living crisis isn't that bad. You have homeless coworkers. It doesn't matter if you're working in finance, it doesn't matter if you're working a retail job. I can almost guarantee you that you have homeless coworkers because 40 to 60% of homeless people are employed and rent is unaffordable. Look at the numbers here, okay? Like the minimum cost of a 1-bedroom apartment in the US is around $1,500. And a lot of states, you're really lucky if you could get that, okay? $1,500, you need to make 3 times the rent, $4,500 a month. That is $28 an hour. $28 an hour in the US is like the baseline bare minimum living wage. But our federal minimum wage is
$7.25 an hour.
You know what $7.25 an hour gets you working full time?
$1,160
a month. The minimum for an apartment, again, remember?
$4,500 a month.
And we're not even factoring in taxes into all of this shit. I don't care what your job is. There is no reason that anyone working 40 hours a week, slaving their life away, should not be able to at least afford a fucking 1-bedroom apartment.
That's insane. And someone asked how many of us are just 1 paycheck away from being homeless. And homeless doesn't always mean that you're on the street. Keep that in mind. I just realized if it wasn't for my merciful, loving parents, I would be homeless. So much of Gen Z is asking, why did I have to become an adult at the worst time possible? We're like the millennials 2.0. It really feels like things are so different from lockdown, and they really are. Like, lockdown represented the greatest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich in history.
Americans are on the brink of bankruptcy, and this money story just keeps going from bad to worse. Because first is inflation, which is up in the month of August at 3.67%. And you might think to yourself, well, that's no big deal, it's just 3.67%. But this is your money, and it means for every $1,000 that you make, you're really only able to buy $963 worth of goods because that remaining $300 in change is just inflated away. And to make matters worse, the inflation in our economy isn't confined to just avocado toast or the occasional cup of coffee. It's actually taken root in the most important things that we buy every day, like gasoline and the cost of keeping a roof over your head. Gasoline prices in this country are getting out of control, and rent prices have increased every month for the last 40 months. But wait, it gets worse, because the Federal Reserve, who is in charge of making sure that the economy doesn't go spiraling down the toilet drain, which, newsflash, they're not very good at their job. They're in charge of combating inflation, and they're trying to, and right now their only option to make that happen is by raising interest rates. Which means if you still don't have a house but you're close, if you buy one now, the cost of your mortgage is going to be higher than it's ever been compared to what the cost of your home is, at least if we look at the last 10 years. But thanks to inflation, in many states, the cost of the home itself is close to or at all-time highs. But wait, it gets even worse, because the Federal Reserve recently released studies showing that household savings in the United States has been going down every month for the last 2 years. And Americans collectively have been drawing down on their savings at a rate of around $100 billion a month. So your money now buys you less stuff, while the Federal Reserve raises interest rates against you if you're trying to buy a home, while the cost of rents keep going up every month. While at the same time, student loans are coming into play, so you're going to have less money in your pocket, and your money doesn't go as far to begin with because of all the inflation. And that's it. I'm done. That is the bleak state of the United States. You got to tell them everything. Tell them about corporate profits. Because it would be one thing if Americans as a whole were entering into financial dark times altogether as one United States, but that's not what's actually happening. Because in 2022 and 2023, corporate profits have been at or near all-time highs. A small portion of our society is doing better than they've ever done before. And I personally am all for getting rich. I want to have more money. I want you to have more money. I think we should live in a country where we all have the opportunity to be doing better tomorrow than we did yesterday, collectively. Some of us aren't going to make it, but if we live in a place where all of us have the chance to, that's exciting. But that's not what's happening. A small group of people are getting richer not by providing more value to society, but by extracting value from it. For example, Blackstone, a private equity firm on Wall Street, led by this man, Stephen Schwarzman, who's the CEO of Blackstone. This guy took home over $250 million in profits in 2022. Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, got a 36% pay increase in 2022 and took home $33 million. And we all know why Pfizer did so well in 2021 and 2022. And if that's not disaster capitalism, I don't know what is. Because what's happening in the United States definitely feels like it's unsustainable. And it also sadly feels feels like the government is on the side of corporations rather than the people. Because remember the Pfizer CEO that took home $33 million last year? In that same year, 2022, Pfizer signed a $3.2 billion deal with the US government, meaning our tax dollars are funding Pfizer and helping their company hit record profits, allowing them to give their CEOs massive pay boosts with money that comes from US taxpayers. And it's really frustrating because I wasn't a great student in school, but I seem to remember the role of government being something like regulating big businesses to protect the people from big businesses, overstepping their bounds and doing things that are just not good for society. Right now, in 2023, it seems like government is aligned with those same corporations at the expense of the American people. So the question is, what are we all going to do if things keep going this way? Is the answer stop buying the avocado toast, which is keeping us all in poverty? Or maybe we all just start collecting rainwater so we can grow our gardens off-grid to sustain ourselves?
Actually, that's illegal in 11 states.
It's illegal to collect rainwater in 11 states?
You can't do it.
Are you kidding?
Not kidding, and actually you live in one of those 11 states.
Well, shit.
I just want to buy a home and live life. And now that seems unobtainable. Someone rightly pointed out the worst part is this economic slump is not just the US. It's Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the UK. I have cut down on literally every expense, and I can barely make rent. And guess what? My student loans resume next month.
We are in a depression right now, but the only reason it's not called that is because the wealthy people are wealthier than they've ever been. It's not a depression for the rich people. The rich people are doing great. During the Great Depression, the average cost of a home was about $4,900, which today is equivalent to about $90,000. It was around 3 times the average person's wages. Today, in 2026, the average cost of a home is around $410K, which is about 8 times the average person's wages.
Someone said we're in the silent depression. Because oftentimes, let's be real, the stock market is just based on vibes. Like even if a company is doing well, but analysts expected them to be doing even better, their stock price will go down. And if they were expected to do worse, but they don't do as bad, their stock price goes up.
Our company's earnings beat expectations. Hooray! The stock will go up. But because analysts expected us to beat expectations by more, the stock is tanking. Right. We need to beat the expectations of the expectation. The stock declined so much that people began buying the stock and increased the stock. Yes, losing stock value makes it gain stock value. People feel the stock is overinflated and have begun selling the stock. Icky hyperinflated stock. Bad stock. Good news. Someone with a lot of money said the stock is good now. One person's opinion should be able to dictate the value of a company and stock. Oh no, that person just wanted to sell the stock at a higher price. The stock is tanking again. Investing is a science and not at all gambling. Our company decided to become an AI company, even though we sell shoes. The stock is up 10x. That is a perfect reflection of the health of our company and stock.
But that means that all that needs to happen to precipitate a massive change in the economy is a change in vibes. If people start thinking the economy is cooked, the stock market will act on that, and then the dam breaks, and we'll all have to try and find shelter. Do you think we're in a good economy? Is it good for you? I'll respond to as many comments as I can, so let me know.
Hooray! This
Yeah, did I just rank up in one thing? Or no? Oh my god. I'm dead trying to rage bait hard as I can, but I don't think it's working.
Stock will go up, but because analysts expected us to beat expectations by more, the stock is tanking. Right, we need to beat the expectations of the expectation. The stock declined so much that people began buying the stock and increased the stock. Yes, losing stock value makes it gain stock value. People feel the stock is overinflated and have begun selling the stock. Icky hyperinflated stock. Bad stock. Good news. Someone with a lot of money said the stock is good now. One person's opinion should be able to dictate the value of a company and stock. Oh no, that person just wanted to sell the...
Eight months after winning a $2.4 million jet on a Mr. Beast challenge, Jabari Brown is about to become the fourth person arrested in a $3.6 million drug case, but he has no idea it's coming. It's Saturday morning at a private airport outside Asuncion, Paraguay. The plane he co-piloted in landed the night before without a single problem. Everyone got off and went into the city. It was a completely normal night until one passenger walked back into the terminal the next morning to grab a bag someone left behind on that plane. He's allowed access to the plane, however, while heading back to exit the terminal. But the reason why, what for, had to cross to get Brown mentioning that he has been arrested along with the passengers of yesterday's flight for trafficking millions of dollars worth of drugs into the country and requests him to check the news. This brings CLATS under heavy suspicion because as CNAD was still searching and seizing the aircraft, they found that the captain of the flight had already fled the country before the drug bust, making him the most wanted captain for the Paraguayan authorities. The zoomed
If you work at my health insurance company, please do not watch this video. Folks, several weeks ago, I informed you that Dunkin' Donuts was releasing a 40